Hello everyone, hi. Alright, so today we're gonna make an apple cake. Alright, the consistency is going to be kind of like a pound cake. It's very easy to make, and you really don't need any type of icing to go with it because it's perfect as it is. You can actually make some type of like a caramel that goes on top, like a brown sugar apple caramel that can go on the top. I'm actually going to make that, but I will not make an icing. So I'm going to make like a very tiny amount of caramelized apple to go on the top once the cake is complete. But you don't really need like any type of icing or any type of frosting for this recipe. You can if you want to. For the ingredients here, we have butter, dry ingredients, which is the consistency of salt, cinnamon, flour, baking powder. We have two sets of apples here. We have the diced apples that we're going to use while baking the cake. It's going to be in the cake batter. And we also have the sliced apples who are inside the cake as a decoration. We're going to place them carefully once we finish creating the batter, and we'll place it on the pan. We're going to place these slices carefully. They're almost going to look like a flower looking design. Once we complete that, I'm going to use this one here, the sour cream. You're going to need two different types of sugars, brown sugars and white granulated sugar. You need 3 eggs here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start the recipe. The recipe is very, very easy. You can just cook it on the bundt cake. You can cook it on a very large pan. Make sure the pan that you use is very deep, because this cake's going to really rise really nicely. Preheat your oven already before you start the recipe, so that as soon as you're done with the batter, you can go ahead and put it straight on the oven. All right. So let's start the recipe. So we're gonna go ahead and cream butter. Mix it for about 30 seconds. Sugar. Mix for about 1 minute. It's going to resemble like coarse sugar. Up now is the eggs, one by one. Mix them low. You could also use a stand mixer. But when I make this type of cakes, I usually like making it on my hands. Use a hand mixer and make it, especially if I'm doing like a tutorial live like this. Okay, so after the last egg added, we're going to go ahead and mix it up a little bit to make sure we got everything from the bottom. You don't want to have the chunks of butter in there, so mix it a little more. Now we're going to mix our flour mix. We're going to pour it on 2 parts. So 1 part. 30 seconds. Right. Now that the flour disappeared, we're going to add our just half of it. And we'll continue to mix. By the way, I'm mixing on 2. Like medium speed. That's actually not medium, that's actually lower than medium. Just 1 below medium. And we're gonna complete adding our wet ingredients. Continue to mix till you don't see the buttermilk. I always get buttermilk and buttercream confused. Always. Now that it's mixed well, we're going to add our last last mix of flour. And by this time, I believe our oven should be ready to use because we're almost done here. The only thing left is just adding the sour cream and the apples. We add them last because we don't need to mix them with the hand mixture. We don't want to have a bunch of chunks of parts that's not mixed, so we're gonna wait. Right? So as you can see, it's getting super smooth. Right? It smells delicious. Right? So now that it's mixed, right, we're gonna add about 3 large spoons of sour cream. A large spoon, I mean large. This is about close to a cup. We're gonna mix it low until the sour cream is mixed really well in the bottom. It's very creamy, right? And then we're gonna do one last mix to make sure the bottom is mixed really well. Right? This butter is so fluffy. It's beautiful. Look how creamy that is. It's almost like a whipped consistency. Alright? Make sure you break apart the diced apples that you have. And just gently add them. And we won't need this anymore. Put it away. And we'll just use now the spatula. And we want to mix it just gently. And now it's ready to go in the oven. We're going to line our pan with parchment paper and just a light brush of oil in the pan. And then it's ready to cook. We lined up a spring foam pan, basically like a cheesecake pan. Oh, I just dropped the oil. Like a cheesecake pan, lined with some parchment paper, right? Just lightly with oil on it, and then we're going to basically add it. And I'm actually gonna make two cake. I'm gonna bring another pan and put the rest of it because that's a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and spread it around. Next part, we're going to add a sliced apples on top. Just gently add them on top. You don't have to push them down because they will naturally, when they cook, they're going to like soak into the cake. So now it's ready for the oven. So 5 minutes before the cake is cooked, I'm going to make the little apple caramel, like caramelized apple. It's basically just diced apples with some sugar, a little bit of butter, some little salt, and cinnamon, and that's it. And then once that's cooled, we're going to brush the caramelized syrup on top of the cake, and it should be ready. So, time for the oven. We are going to make a caramel, caramelized apples. All right, so you're going to need some diced apples. This is about a quarter of an apple that's diced, right? We're going to add on one bowl, right? And we're going to add the 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, some sea salt, about half teaspoon of sea salt, and then 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. Don't use any light sugar, just the actual regular brown sugar. Because I know you have your light brown sugar, you also have your dark brown sugar. So this one is the original dark brown sugar, I believe. Yeah, it is. So we're gonna use that. I feel like it's more flavorful to use the dark one. So we're going to mix everything in here, right? And then now we're going to microwave this for about 1 minute. Once we finish microwaving it for about 1 minute, we're going to stir a little bit till everything's combined, and we're going to add everything on the top of the cake.